right, listen, today we're diving into one of the most legendary games in chess history. I'm talking 1851 London, no engines, no theory, just pure chaos. This is the original Immortal Game, the one people still talk about nearly 200 years later. It's so iconic it even made its way into Blade Runner. On one side, you've got Adolf Anderssen, basically the final boss of chess in his time. And on the other side, an absolute name that sounds like a spell from Harry Potter, Lionel Kieseritzky. What happens in this game? Let's just say pieces are going to disappear, a lot of them. Let's get into it. The game begins with e4 from Adolf Anderssen. Kieseritzky replies e5. And, of course, since this is a game from the Romantic era, Anderssen answers with f4, the king's gambit. White sacrifices a pawn, and black accepts it, entering the accepted king's gambit. White's bishop comes out to c4, allowing black to forego castling after the move queen h4 check. Queen h4, white's king is forced to step aside and moves to f1. Black plays b5, at the time a rather popular move. Black sacrifices another pawn, hoping to distract the white bishop from the weak f7 square. White accepts the challenge and captures the pawn on b5 with his bishop. Black develops his knight to f6, attacking the pawn on e4. White's knight jumps to f3, driving the queen away. The queen retreats to h6. White plays d3, aiming at the pawn on f4 and reinforcing the center. Lionel begins to weave his threats. His knight heads toward h5. If white ignores this, the next move will be knight g3, a nasty fork on the king and the rook. And if white takes the knight, then the black queen will still capture the rook on h1. So, white plays knight h4, parrying the threat. If black insists on continuing, it will simply cost him a piece. The pawn on g3 would defend the knight on h4. But Adalbert keeps attacking. Queen g5. The knight is under fire. A calm and strong response. Knight f5. The white knight on f5 becomes a key piece. Black pushes c6, forcing white to decide what to do with the bishop, and Anderssen makes his decision. He simply sacrifices it, playing g4, offering his bishop on b5. If black takes it, the knight on h5 falls. Kieseritzky doesn't take the bait. He retreats his knight back to f6. At this point, it looks as if Anderssen has gone too far. His pawn on g4 is hanging, and his bishop on b5 is also en prise. But no, he continues brilliantly. White brings his rook into play with rook g1, sacrificing the bishop on b5. Black accepts the sacrifice, but after the capture, white pushes h4. The pawns begin to chase down the black queen. The only retreat is g6, since h6 is guarded by the knight. After queen g6, white pushes h5, driving the queen back even further. The queen retreats to g5, but here comes queen f3. Now the pawn on f4 is impossible to defend, and once white captures it with bishop f4, the black queen is suddenly in real danger of being trapped. Bagration quickly opens an escape square for his queen, a kind of emergency hatch from a sinking submarine. Now the queen can retreat along the dark squares. After bishop takes f4, the queen falls back to f6, eyeing the pawn on b2. A nasty threat, since the rook on a1 might also fall right after. But white calmly plays knight c3, blocking the diagonal. Then comes bishop c5, as black keeps poking at white's pieces. The rook on g1 is now under attack, but nothing to worry about. Knight d5. White begins his counterattack. The bishop must retreat. But come on, with a name like Felix Bagration Kieseritzky, would such a man ever retreat? Of course not. He greedily captures the pawn on b2, just as he had planned. Now the rook on a1 hangs with check, and the rook on g1 is still under attack. But white decides, who needs rooks anyway, when you can attack the black king instead? And that king, by the way, isn't feeling well at all. Every piece around him is asleep, both on the queen side and on the king side. But the queen keeps feasting in the middle of disaster. White plays bishop d6. Kieseritzky calculates the possibilities and realizes he can't take the bishop, because if he does, it's instant mate. After knight f7 check and king e8 comes knight d6 and checkmate. The king has nowhere to run. So taking that bishop is impossible. But Kieseritzky, brave as ever, doesn't capture it. And indeed, despite white's heavy concentration of pieces surrounding the black king, there's no immediate mate in sight. So black calmly captures the rook on g1. White plays e5. And now the real fireworks begin. With this move, white cuts the black queen off from g7, a critical square that the knight on f5 has been staring at all game. It's black's move, and naturally, the showman sees a check, and the showman can't resist giving it. He captures the rook on a1, completely forgetting that white has already sacrificed 2 rooks. And why not take it, especially when it comes with check? There will still be plenty of time to deal with checkmates later. White's king steps aside. It's a check, after all. And now black faces a choice. What to do next? Surprisingly, he's up 2 rooks and a bishop, yet 1 step away from disaster. And here, Kieseritzky makes the fatal mistake of the entire game. Let's take a look. In this position, black has only 1 move that could have kept him afloat. Bishop a6. The idea behind this move is to give the black king a small breathing square on c8, because right now, there's hardly any air left around him. White's pieces are swarming. Instead, black plays knight a6, trying to cover the c7 square, so the white knight can't jump there, at least controlling something. But white still has the most brilliant sacrifice of the entire game. Anderssen plays knight g7 check and captures the pawn. The black king is forced onto his only available square, king d8. And now comes the grand finale. Queen f6, check. There's no escaping the sacrifice now. If the queen isn't taken, it's checkmate immediately. Black captures with the knight. Knight takes f6, and then bishop e7. Mate. A stunning checkmate delivered by 3 light pieces while black is sitting there with a whole extra queen, a bishop, and 2 rooks that did absolutely nothing. Pure, absolute harmony and chaos. If you want to learn how to sacrifice your entire army just to deliver a cold-blooded mate like this, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button for Silent Check, leave a comment with your favorite move from this game, and remember, in chess, sometimes you have to give up everything to become immortal.